What's up? We're in the next part. Please go check out the previous part to gauge your bearings to understand what we're talking about. I'm just going to carry on speaking from where I left off. I was talking in the last part about how it is that they don't want to listen to us, these men, because they can't stand our opinions because they've become so misogynistic, hating everything we say, given that they've become extremely competitive with women. And then I spoke about how it is that I had an ex-boyfriend that I tried to help. I tried to help him the way that women are supposed to help men, because we are helper suitables, being the wind beneath the wings of a man, not running the show, just, like I said, being the wind beneath his wings, like bolstering him, boosting him, helping him get to where he needs to get as a man. And thanks to him listening to some pretty nefarious, underhanded, shoddy, miscalculating men in his life who told him that a woman must just shut up and a man is not to be spoken to at all by a woman, that a man must just take nothing that a woman says seriously. Don't listen to her. Just my ex used to literally listen to me talk, and I would think that I got through to him because he was quiet the whole time, and I would know that he could not care less for anything I said. When time would progress and he would not affect anything I said or even take it in under advisement. But as soon as a friend of his gave him the same advice that I gave him, within 2 weeks he's already done it. That's a man that just decided, because I don't want to yell and I don't want to fight, because I don't want my girlfriend nagging, I'll just act as if though I understand. But she's gonna know I don't care about anything she says, because I'm gonna sit on my bum on top of everything she counseled me concerning and do nothing. Like I said, then somebody would say the same thing, that is a man, and it would be done in 2 weeks. When I made these observations, my heart broke, but I still stayed with him. This problem, this cancer, is so metastasized in women that once upon a time, even though the women in his family really liked me, one time his younger sister she was at our apartment. There was like a little party that we were hosting there, and she got drunk, and some guy, some little pervert, wanted to drive her home. And my ex was on some, you're not taking my sister home. You're not getting in his car. You're not getting in his car. It was a whole fight, a whole brawl. And this girl, the sister of my ex, wanted to go with this guy because she wanted to go home. She wanted to be driven home. And she was like, I want to go. And this guy was like, I'll drop your sister off at home. And my ex was like, no way, because he knew that his friend was a player. He knew that his friend was going to try to take the sister for granted in that drunk state that she was in. Even I argued on some vele wahlanya, you're not leaving with her. And it became a whole fight where we were like, you are not taking her, because this is her brother's place too. It's my place, it's our place, and she's staying here, she's sleeping here. And she was like, I want to sleep in my own bed, I want to go home. And nobody was in any position to drive, and we were like, but this is you'll sleep on the couch. Like, yo, you are not going with this guy. We'll drop you off first thing in the morning if you're that desperate to go home. And it became a whole brawl, a whole fight. And because the little sister was so upset that we wouldn't let her go with this little jumpy pervert all over the show, she then started to basically come out in her drunken stupor with the thoughts that dwell in her mind every so often concerning what she thinks about me. And because I was also fighting, yelling, on telling this guy out, this girl, dream on. This chick raised her voice, all upset, wanting to leave. And she's like, I want to go, leave me go. When let's say his name, my ex, well, yesterday I gave him the name Peter. He was like, Peter, when you control a girlfriend yakho, when you control a girlfriend yakho, or control a girlfriend yakho, that's why ngafuna ukuthi ngihambe Peter, ngifuna ukuhamba ucontrol i-girlfriend yakho. Just because ukarabo athi akafuna nami ukuthi ngihambe, you just listen to her. My ex was the one that was like, no first. Then I was nakafagaza, and I was like, vele, you're not gonna leave with her. And in her drunken stupor, then came out with, I guess, the true core truth of what she believed about me. And she kept on telling my ex, Uguti, leave me alone. Mina, I'm not under Karabo's authority when I went to control a girlfriend yako. It broke my heart, whatever. Everybody moved on after that. She slept fine. She eventually, like, the guy left and she stayed over. That night, no one even slept anyway. Everybody just stayed drinking until the sun rose. So I get to we just literally ended up going to this the ice skating rink Northgate without sleeping. So whatever, another story for another day. That, but the fact that my ex's younger sister believed that me I'm in controller boyfriend yam. Oh, by the way, what that means in English, when to control a girlfriend, it means that the reason why you're letting me, you're basically listening to Karabo and in this whole broadcast brawl that we're having, is that she controls you. The problem here is that your girlfriend controls you. All I could say, I then went on right ahead and said to my ex, that's what you guys think of me? You think that I control you? Understand that I came into that guy's life with everything shattered, and thanks to him basically heeding counsel from me and also not wanting to lose me, he stopped taking drugs. He basically got his act together, Watoli driver's license, all these things. That's a woman that came into his life, was the wind beneath his wings and aided his cause along. And then he was told by people around him that ever since the chick came into your life, so and into differently, even though these different things were beneficial for him. That's why his family liked me, his mom liked me, because the things that happened in his life were beneficial. I was Evie to an Adam. I was Eve-like to him. I was Eve-like to him. I was helpful. And because of me, I became the wind beneath his wings, and he started to soar. But then other women, when they got all upset because I stood on my ground being the resolved woman that I am, a drunken young lady decided to tell me that Mina, I'm controlling, and I'm not going to control her the way that I control her brother. Even women think that. Even women think that. Even women think that when women come into the lives of men and they transform these men and make them better men, that these women are controlling. When a woman comes into the life of a man and all of a sudden his wardrobe changes because he just wants to match with her or align to her. He's no longer always rocking sneakers, but this time around he can wear a good shoe, a good fitted suit. This time around a man, like just getting your act together. Like you can't keep wearing the Adidas sneakers, the tracksuit pants for the rest of your days. At some point you gotta wear a suit. When a woman walks up in the life of a man and that becomes a thing, apparently the man is not one that is regarded as having made a decision to heed his wife's counsel, but as one who is whipped. And that's what's cracking society apart. That's what's messing with the world. The fact that men want to continue to wear their pants all the way down to their buttocks instead of wearing a proper fitted suit now that you're 27. Because a woman came into your life and made you realize that you can't keep rocking up everywhere. Boy. At some point you gotta buy a shoe. When a woman, when I started dating my ex-boyfriend, I'm here to complain. I'm here much. That's what I'm doing. I'm here to complain, and I get to complain aloku ngoba the lack of respect la emgaqweni for izinto ezinhle ezenzwa ngabafazi. I just feel as if though yazin, that's why we're all falling apart. That's why everything is falling apart, because no one has regard or respect anymore for the important work that a woman does when she comes into the life of a man. When I started dating, and this guy, the same man that disregarded yonkinto, ultimately that I would have to say or do until it got to a point where askwazi manje to be together anymore, because like what's my job here? If you don't listen to anything I say, I can't have lived with you all of these years as my boyfriend or whatever, my man, in a particular capacity, and now all of a sudden this is not a partnership anymore or fellowship. This is a despot, a dictatorship. This is some kind of a warped version of a patriarchy that doesn't make sense, where a man does everything in an environment and a woman cooks, barefoot, pregnant, do all those things that are typically female, but actually speak and get heated and regarded, forget it. There are women who have run entire countries or helped men run entire countries because they were first ladies to presidents and did an excellent job. And yet men are in this 21st century increasingly becoming disheartened, not disheartened, hardened in heart against the prospect of heeding a woman's advice when it comes to such big matters as running a country, running a business, running a household. What is the point? If you know that song, is it Mary J. Blige? I stand corrected. Speaking of that woman in Waiting to Exhale, Angela Bassett. The song goes along the lines of, I was your lover and your secretary, working every day of the week. Was at the job when no one else was there, helping you get on your feet. 11 years of sacrifice. Without the kids, I have nothing to show. Wasted my years, a fool of a wife. I should have left you behind 1,000 times. No, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna shed no tear. Why would a man need that kind of support from a woman? Lover and secretary, working every day of the week, at the job when no one else was there, helping you get on your feet. That's not a person that should just shut up and keep quiet. That's not a person that cannot give an opinion. That's not a person that must just be barefoot pregnant in the kitchen doing nothing else. How was that man ever gonna get on his feet without her being his secretary at the job when no one else was there, helping him get on? When a woman cannot use her mind and her mouth and vocalize her opinion concerning a man's way and endeavors, he is like a disembodied man, a disabled man that has only one leg to walk. Or one hand. Yes, you can still write. Yes, you can still hop. And so get from A to B. But it's going to be hella hard. We are the other leg. And we are the other hand. And as soon as we are the other eye, you will still see. But it's not going to be a lateral vision as you would have it with both eyes working. There is a left and a baton. There's a left and a right hemisphere in the brain. The earth is separated between north and northern equator, at the equator, northern and southern hemispheres. This earth has a balance to it. There are two sides to a coin. And so when you disregard the one side altogether, there is going to be astigmatism, an imbalance, some kind of awkwardness, skewedness. And the earth is getting skewed because of an increase in misogyny and a complete disregard by men of the importance of women in their lives. Because we are apparently, allegedly getting too smart or too influential or too moneyed to ever be heeded by men. The problem, the only reason why a man would ever feel overwhelmed by a woman who is influential is if he is not fit for her. If she is too big for him. If her mind is too lofty in comparison to his. If her general suite of giftedness is too excessive above his. There will be an imbalance and there will be a disquiet. There will also be a misogyny that brews up in a man. A chauvinism. There will be a disinterest in the man to listen to the woman. Because she is that much smarter. That much brighter. And that's the reason why Korobela is just the worst and most unsuccessful ploy by men to get any woman they want at all. Because if a woman can see that she's not compatible with you, and then you bring her into your space using witchcraft, you are going to create inequalities and unequal yokings. You are going to create imbalances where it is that she will then turn out to be too smart for you. She will turn out to be too tall for you. She will turn out to be etc. But if a woman is waiting on the Lord for a husband that is compatible, this dude will rock up and automatically be in a position to embrace the fullness of this woman, the girth of this woman, such that when she speaks, he will not hate what she has to say. But nah, these guys insist on being with women that are literally out of their league. And so for those reasons, they end up abusive and passive aggressive. Because if a woman made sense for you, you would not be competing with her. You would understand her as a helper suitable. But if she is so strong in comparison to your mind, of course you're going to fall by the wayside and act as if though she's dumb. And other women, it appears, are embracing this rhetoric. They are busy saying that when a woman rocks up and transforms a man, that so manje, a guy must just stay in whatever mold or grain he's in. When a woman comes into the picture, if there is no change in a man's life, beneficially, positively, when a woman comes in, if everything just kind of stays flatlined, the same, that's not a partnership. People are not supposed to remain stagnant. They're not supposed to be sitting in one position forever. Even our atomic structure, molecular structure, is constantly vibrating. Ain't nobody supposed to stay in one place indefinitely. So when there is a plateau between two people when they come together and there is no difference in either person's life, that's not the right fit. If a woman, upon coming into the life of a man, does not significantly improve that man, if that man does not suddenly start to nudge, move in the right direction, if he moves in the negative direction or not at all, that's not the girl. That's not the girl. And what I did is come into that guy's life and all of a sudden he was moving. A stationary truck all of a sudden started to move. And somewhere along the way, a woman went on in his life, went on right ahead and told me, in some self-control-less brawl of a drunken stupor, she went on right ahead and told me, but I'm not going to control her the way that I control her brother. I often wonder If at all I were to turn back the hands of time and not come into your brother's life, if at all you'd be glad about that. Because there was nobody that was dissatisfied with my presence in his life, especially among the women. Why? Because I basically rescued that guy from the precipice of self-destruction. Precipice of self-destruction. And yet men are disinterested in being helped along by women. Well, if you don't listen to a woman, your prayers get hindered. And so seeing as all these men are not listening to women, but they want to make out of us robots that speak when spoken to, robots that do the bidding of men without having a single unique opinion by ourselves. You are creating some kind of a warped spoof, some caricature of what it is that the Lord intended the human race to be. You are creating a spoof. You are melting away at God's structure for family and erecting your own. You're bringing forth a nefarious structure of family that God did not sign up for. All of these women merely existing in the lives of wealthy men, merely existing in the lives of men that have arrived and so don't need any help apparently, are irresponsible and are destroying society. And all of these men that also want women to do nothing, sitting around and just merely being pampered with nail manicures, are irresponsible with the gifts of women. So a pairing of people where no one grows, that's the issue. And my ex-boyfriend went on right ahead and married the pampered lady with the nail manicure. That's not bringing a man from one level to another. And now that he finally got a woman, he wants to come back. He wants to come back. And so the way that he is now trying to communicate to me that it wasn't broken and try to fix it, I get it now, is by now trying to bring me into an environment that's just going to humiliate the living daylights out of me. When I was the ride or die, I now get to be humiliated because I had nothing else and no one else in my life. I got by attrition so brutally afflicted that I finally went back to a guy that tried to get me back for 12 years and it finally worked. It finally worked. Your wickedness and your disregard of the job of men, is exactly what caused the very phenomenon that I'm finding happening to me today. Women have been threatened into submission. They have been threatened into submission by the fear of a lack of love, fear of a lack of respect, fear of a lack of provision, fear of a lack of a life to live at all, fear of a lack of children, fear of a lack of a purpose or a legacy, just out of being scared of not having all such things. Women have been bullied into submission. So you have conformed a whole chunk of women into Stepford wives. And now you think it's only a matter of time before I fit hand to glove into that mold because everybody else has fallen like a domino. Why are you priding yourself, men, in the fact that these women have fallen like dominoes when you've destroyed society? You've taken away your helper suitables. If a woman cannot help a man get from strength to strength, society is going to remain stagnated in some kind of mediocrity, some homeostatic weird little stance that nobody's moving ahead or behind from. Everything is just stationary, like jelly wobbling on the spot. It always comes back to where it is that it originally started. When then men are content to be that thing with nothing else, there is nothing left for the rest of us who want more, is there? I live in a silly country that I cannot for the life of me stand anymore. I used to love this nation, but I'm pretty done now with South Africa. It is precisely because of all of this godlessness that has erased the importance of a woman in a marriage, in a room, in a situation, in a household, that we are now dealing with men that are throwing the country away. South Africa is supposed to be a Christian nation. It's been one for the longest time ever, pretty much ever since I've been alive. It's been Christian. We've never had an issue with religious extremism in this country because it's always been regarded as a Christian nation. Even in the days of apartheid, it was Christian. A Christian country should be biblical and stand for whatever it is that God stands for. And here it is that we find ourselves all these years down the line as a country cursing ourselves from right within the government. As a Christian nation, South Africa is supposed to stand with the roots of Christianity. It is supposed to stand with biblical veracity as to how this is running. Our men, if at all they were helped along by women and became the patriarchies that they were supposed to be, they would understand in the right, what is this, context, who as a nation they should ally with, and who as a nation they ought sever themselves from allying to. I need to leave this country, if at all the Lord does not rapture the church. It is imperative that I leave this country, if there is no rapture coming, to go anywhere where a Christian nation is still doing things largely biblically, because there will never ever be any nation on the face of the earth, all the way up until the second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ, that's truly faithful to God. But there are nations that do it better than others. When you forsake God, you don't know what he expects of you. You lose context, right standing with history, and so you condemn yourselves. I already told you guys that the Lord showed me that South Africa is going to cease to be a nation altogether. And I am seeing all this stuff happening, and it's causing me a great deal of panic, because I am sitting where I'm sitting, being dealt a bad blow by wickedness that is trying to come into my country, precisely because my country is going in the direction of everything that hates God. And that wickedness loves the dark. And so it is being drawn to my land. There is literally a border crisis in South Africa that is unseen, where all manner and kinds of filth is trying to come in, only because our government thinks it's gold. Only because our government thinks it's amazing. Our land has allied with all of the enemies of Jesus Christ. And it's making me panic. Because when am I ever going to get out of here? When am I ever going to leave? I need to get out of South Africa. It's unsafe. It is a land that is teeming at the folds with compromise against God. And I'm still here. And I don't know what's going to get me out. If the rapture is not happening any minute now, I need to be relocated to another country. I can't stay here. All of this insanity against my person, this extreme misogyny, this gender-based violence, this persistence by witches to get me to do what they want me to do, the conversion of South African women into Stepford wives, all of that is just a byproduct of how far from God you have fallen as a land. I gotta leave. I'm panicking even though I'm not supposed to be panicking. I can't help but do it. The Bible, it is written in Philippians 4 verse 6 to 8 to 7, do not be anxious for anything, but in all things, Philippians 4 to 6, do not be anxious for anything, but in all things by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Make your requests known to God, and his peace, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. I'm not supposed to panic according to the word of God, but I can't help but panic. And the reason I'm panicking is because I am seeing the condemnation of this country unfolding in the news. I am seeing the judgment of this land. It's like I am Lot in Sodom, and I know that there is fire and brimstone coming to land on Sodom, but I'm in a prison in Sodom. And even though I want to go, I want to run, I don't even want to look back and so be turned into a pillar of salt. I'm in this prison. So then when the fire lands on this country, I'm just in a jail cell and I can't get out. I want to leave South Africa because of everything that is going on. The abuse of my person by this pestilent menace in America is only because my country is so evil. And South Africa is to him a land flowing with milk and honey. Because this level of compromise by a local community is milk and honey to wicked people. It is joy. It's written in God's word that when the disciples mourn, the world will be rejoicing. South Africa is rejoicing on rubbish while its disciples mourn. It's uninhabitable. And that's why that pestilent beast in America is as interested in me as he is. South Africa has helped him get to this point. This ex-boyfriend of mine that wants me back, he thinks himself as a better man in comparison to that pestilent beast in America. But that pestilent animal in America would never have even been given a chance to look at me if men like my ex-boyfriend who live in South Africa had not awarded him for free mahala on a silver platter. Umfazi omuhle, ofundile, virtuous, on has so many stats stacked in her favor, but just leave her for free on the market to be exchanged nje, ngathi she's nothing. Trafficked and thrown into the hands of some pretty sordid men across the world. If South African men did not abandon me to this level of tragedy, I would not be getting salivated after by that pestilent monster that is trying to come into South Africa and be whatever menace that he is there, here. That's what y'all need to understand. This afternoon, all I could think about was, why do I keep on getting direct messaged by American men only? Why am I being DM'd by American men? And even then, it's always these seedy, shoddy ones that are looking for a quick win, a quick steal, something that is just like 10 for the price of 1. It's because they see that my country, lots of countries in Africa, they're so involved in darkness that they've just let like gems die. They've just left them out in the cold while nobody wants them, and so they flash their dollars and try to take our girls like we're nothing. And when we don't want them, they then become pestilent, monstrous, menacing, entitled. Because who is coming for you? Exactly. My point, exactly. Men of that nasty nature across the world are only looking at South African women like me that way only because South African men helped them. So my ex-boyfriend is the one otusizing that monster in America to do what he's doing to me. My ex cast a spell on me to get HIV, and now an HIV positive man won't leave me alone. My ex cast a spell on me to date down, to date low, basically to downgrade from him. And now a man that is substandard in the worst way to him wants me high and low. If I ended up with that guy, I would miss my ex-boyfriend every single day and night. I might have even been tempted to call him up and have an adulterous affair against my own husband because he would have been that freaking substandard to him. My ex thinks that he's a better man than that guy in America, except it was his witchcraft that made such evil men look at me, that made such evil men imagine me feasible to seek after. It's South African men, and not just my ex-boyfriend, that have so bewitched the living daylights out of me, their women, that we are being raped all over the show. We're being massacred. We're being dilly-dallied and danced around on the heads of. We are being decimated by anything because when you don't value a woman, when you don't treat a woman like she's valued, the world around her will think she's nothing too. She could be the most beautiful girl in the room. She could be the most intelligent. She could be the most wonderful character. Everything could be in place. But when the whole ecosystem around her treats her like trash and is spitting at her feet, wonke umuntu is going to treat her like that trash because they will be thinking, nobody else wants you, mus. Nothing else yaw badla, mus. So it doesn't matter what value I have. Don't you see? Because South African men have acted around me like I'm rubbish. So now an American guy, I keep getting DM'd by American men that are like, if you don't want her, I'll take her. I'm up for grabs. I keep getting DM'd by guys from New Jersey, Chicago, all these guys from America, and I'm like, why are American men all up in my grill like this? What's going on? What's going on? Gutuli like crickets in South Africa. Gutuli. I don't get DM'd by South Africans anymore. They are sitting where they're sitting on some I'll take it. That's the thing. I'll take her. That's the thing. That mindset. If you don't want her, I'll take her. When a woman has been thrown away, when is he ever gonna imagine he's found something incredibly valuable? At what juncture is a person that finds you in a dustbin gonna ever think you were valuable because somebody threw you away? They will just gather you like scraps indeed and put you banked in their environment to just merely gather dust in that space without really seeing the true value of what you are. South African men know what I am. My ex-boyfriend, I got confused as to what I am. They know what I am. All of these randos that wreaked havoc in my life, that's why you know what value I would have been. And so, Grandshap Nani, you are also chichiriza, you're chachalaring morawe, I'm concerned. Because you understand thoroughly that you're not in my league. A lot of y'all like saying this, you know what I am. What she tantamount of retails for in South Africa, y'all know. How under heaven these guys be out jabawa on the floor, breaking their noses, trying to get them. And you've been throwing women like me in situations like these. And so what are South African men doing? They're basically like they're shifting back. They're chilling. They're doing nothing. They're just watching me suffer. Because what's about having a chance? They don't stand a chance. Lots of them. But I mean, cultural shock vibes much. When you don't understand what the dynamics of a country are and why a woman like me is being left in jail abandoned. And zip your pants and try to rape a woman. Why she's even in this position. So high and low by people who don't even have context understanding as to why the situation is even my situation. He is forceful, he's coercive, he's abusive, and my ex-boyfriend, who feels like he is better than him, is not even waking up to smell the coffee to realize ukuthi boy that made lenja leya yase America ukuthi ngibuke emehlweni. You made that man think I am feasible for him ukujola naye. The way iling sibotho katenge that guy, now emozohleka at the prospect ukuthi he even slid into my DMs. Kodwa, you're the one, are you not the one that literally went and grabbed a whole bunch of missiles and faced them in my direction? Amadoda abolile kabuhlungu kabi ukuthi bangibuke. Unobatla vele vele urekishelwe kidibotho kiliqome. So jaga hauna le say one thoroughly trying to whip me with his manhood. You are standing back and saying, this man is gonna kill you, Karabo, if you don't let me rescue you. What is this, the Hegelian dialectic? Where you set up a disaster, erect a whole tent full of disaster, that you might rock up and rescue the day, kidnap a woman, and then orchestrate her rescue. You made that bomb that is landing in my life from America look at me. And now today you want to take care of me? I have to leave this country. Currently, there is a trend on the news about South Africa trying to get Israel indicted for genocide in Gaza. I need to leave. Like, I'm not going to make commentary on that. I've already been speaking about the fact that South Africa has turned its back on Israel, and yet it calls itself a Christian country many times. So I won't labor on it. But it's such things as these. It's just a byproduct. They're all just feeding into each other. One can't even tell if it's chicken before the egg or egg before the chicken, but South Africa is falling apart in ways that I can observe, and I feel trapped in a jail cell, unable to flee. I want to leave this country because it is allying with all of the enemies of God, all the countries that God despises on the earth. South Africa is bosom buddies with them. The enemies of Israel are South Africa's allies. I am not safe here. No one is safe here. I don't know how many times I can say that. No one is safe in this country. Everybody is in danger, and I can't leave. I do not care what people say or think, but the very bottom line is I am seeing billows of smoke everywhere, while everybody is continuing along la-di-da like nothing is falling apart. Zechariah 12, it is written, the oracle of the word of the Lord concerning Israel. Thus declares the Lord, who stretched out the heavens and founded the earth and formed the spirit of man within him. Behold, I'm about to make Jerusalem a cup of staggering to all the surrounding peoples. The siege of Jerusalem will also be against Judah. On that day, I will make Jerusalem a heavy stone for all the peoples. All who lift it will surely hurt themselves. The Lord said that he's going to make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all the peoples, and anyone that tries to lift it will hurt themselves. I'm literally living in Sodom. South Africa has no context, no understanding at all. I'm sick and tired of coming up with analogies and being like, what if it was you burst into while you sleep in your bed in the morning in the kibbutz on the 7th of October? What if it was just here in Vilgayevel and it was Zimbabwe that did that to us? Would you not go in guns blazing to handle that terrorist group in Zimbabwe? You would, as South Africa. But because it was Israel, they don't have a right to stand up for themselves. Russia went into the Ukraine and massacred innocent Ukrainians. And South Africa is not out here going to no court trying to say that Russia is committing genocide in the Ukraine. So they're basically conveniently neglecting certain realities. The Ukraine of which did not just a week prior to that massacre a couple of villages in Russia. Then only Vladimir Putin went in and genocided the whole bunch of them now. South Africa is currently standing strong and firm with Russia. They're not taking them to the ICJJ court or whatever, making commentary about how it is that Russia's committing genocide, but somehow conveniently, Israel is committing genocide. This country is not only shooting itself in the foot, but I do believe it's shooting itself in the brain. It's killing itself. This country's going to cease to be a nation, and I feel stranded in it. Look at what you've done to me. It's nothing. It's nothing. Your country is evidencing that this here casualty against me is ubiquitous. It is across the country. The whole nation is as good as Afghanistan. The whole country might as well be Iran. The whole land is just as good as Lebanon. Like, y'all need to understand. All the surrounding peoples around Jerusalem are going to try to destroy them. And in the battle of Gog and Magog, God is going to destroy them rather with an earthquake, while Jerusalem will be left standing. But no. Because South Africa is all the way in the southern hemisphere of Africa, apparently we're going to escape that bullet? Not according to Zechariah 12. This is all just displaying that I'm absolutely wrongly placed, so I'm in dire need of there being a rapture. Because that's the only thing that's going to get me out of a jail cell inside Sodom before fire and brimstone lands. But if fire and brimstone is landing anyway, without there being a rapture, I've got to miraculously get taken out of this entire country. I have to leave South Africa. Like, it's important, because no good thing is coming here. You don't just get to stand against Israel like this and live. While this thing is trending on the news right now, like there's no news network in this country that's not covering it. I believe it might even be trending on Twitter, X. The whole past 2-3 days has been rumbling with thunder, lightning, rainstorms in this country. In Johannesburg, it's been happening. I don't know about everywhere else. That's what's been going on with Johannesburg the past 3 days. Why is this weather doing this? I want to exercise, I want to do this, and I've been blocked. In the mornings, I get woken up by loud thunders. Hard knock, and I do believe that it's flooding in certain parts of the country. Because right now, South Africa is busy standing on, like, proper... South Africa's not a Muslim country! We are not Muslim. We are Christian. And there are all these Muslims celebrating all over the show with South Africa standing. With Gaza. What? No, not with Palestine. Against Israel. All these Muslims with their hijabs and whatnot, jumping up and down in the street. This is a Christian country. Relax. Blom. But it's not, is it? It's not. I told you guys that this is an Islamic takeover in South Africa. Look what happens when a nation allows itself to go majority Islam or to grow in Islamic numbers when there are Christians inside. Only go look at Nigeria. We've got pillaging of villages full of Christians being massacred on Christmas Eve. After that, more villages were pillaged, were ransacked, were massacred. That's what happens when you allow a Muslim population to grow in a country. They start to get comfortable. They start to get happy. They start to feel like this time around we can ethnic cleanse the Christians. They've got a global takeover ideology in their minds. So if South Africa continues in this state and then the Muslim population here grows, it's going to become 10% big, 20% big, 30, 40. And once it gets to such large numbers, that's when we're going to start seeing like Islamic jihad in villages. Go Mikuku, go Deep Sloot. We're going to see churches get burned because there's a whole bunch of Muslims that live in those regions that are ethnic cleansing. They're going to first start in the poor neighborhoods. That's when you're going to start seeing a whole bunch of burning of mud huts. Go Nelspruit, go Mpumalanga, go Rustenburg. You are going to start seeing it all across the country. Before it comes to Sandton, it's first going to go to Deep Sloot. It's first going to go to some go Soweto. Some shacks go Soweto. Before we go phase 3, ya go Deep Kloof. They're first going to start in the poorest neighborhoods, and that's exactly what's happening in Nigeria. When a Muslim population grows in the country and they get to a certain level, a certain height, because that was not checked, we're dealing with being massacred. And in South Africa, they are literally pumping up the number of Muslims in this country, the number of converts. And when that happens, there's going to be persecution of Christians and Jews at an astronomical level that nobody has ever seen before. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. And I see it for what it is. There is a border crisis in the country. Gungena, all different kinds of nasty things in this country. And the fact that they are actively standing on a rooftop, judges wearing whole wigs on their heads, trying to say that Israel is committing genocide. First you stand like you are pro-Palestinian. You hate it. The country hates Israel. This nation that is South Africa is Zonda, Israel. And there is not that, my dears, is not sustainable. When a country hates Israel, it's just a new Nigeria. It's going to become a new Afghanistan, a new Iran. It's being converted into that. It's only a matter of time. It conveniently stands against genocide when it's Israel, but not when it's Russia. With Russia, it puts its mum on the matter. Even though that's exactly what's happening with Russia, because they were not provoked at all. They just went in there and started just killing a whole bunch of Ukrainians, conveniently choosing your battles in favor of all the enemies of God. Russia is an enemy of God. Get Gog. Turkey is an enemy of God. Get Gog. Gog and Magog. All these enemies of God The Lord says anybody who would try to lift this heavy stone that is Jerusalem, all who would try to heave it away will be surely cut into pieces. And my country is trying to heave away Jerusalem. I told you guys the other day that they're even trying to uproot the Israeli embassy in the country. What in the world is going on in terms of anti-Semitism in this land? I don't even know. I'm living at the back of my mom's house in a shack. I don't know whether or not anti-Semitism has ramped up in this country. I don't know if Jews have stopped wearing their yarmulkes or whatever. I don't know if they have stopped looking obviously like they're Jews. I don't know if they've stopped going to synagogues. I do not know what's happening in the streets. I don't know if they can still have that crescent moon or that Israeli flag on their dashboards. I don't know. I'm not out there. I'm not there to see it. But I have a foreboding suspicion that there's already been an increase in anti-Semitism in South Africa because of South African sentiment against Israel. All these Muslims jumping up and down all over the show, celebrating our country's support, solidarity with a terrorist state. That's what's going on. I gotta leave. The same way that South Africa is completely ignoring me and my pain and my sorrow. They are completely ignoring that Hamas went on the 7th of October and just massacred a whole bunch of innocent Israelis. They're ignoring that, saying that nothing justifies genocide. Well, guess what? Nothing justifies complete murder of an innocent woman. But nah, you're choosing your battles, aren't you? I stand for Israel and I will always stand for them. As a Christian, I can do nothing but I'm misplaced in this country. I gotta go. I have to leave. You're not ex-boyfriend that wants me back high and low. He was very newsy. He was he loved current affairs. He was always kept up to date with what's happening in the world. More so even than me back when we were dating. So he definitely has an opinion on what's going on right now. This war in Israel, he definitely has taken a side. And I am highly doubtful of the fact that he stands for Israel. I seriously doubt it. Yet he wants to be with me. This here is a deal breaker. It is a massive, massive, massive heart cry by me because it's God's massive heart cry. And so I can't be with a man that's anti-Semitic, that's pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine, pro anything at all that's not Israel. Like, I will not do it. But I am wanted by men who think that him and I can beg to differ concerning our opinions on Israel. It's an essential. To me, it's an essential because it's an essential to God. But without understanding all these things that break people up, they nonetheless want to come into my life. Take your country and stand unto oblivion on the wrong side of history and on the wrong side of Jesus. Take it. Take your country with its love for terror, with its hatred of Israel, with its insistence on heaving away Jerusalem. Go. Because indeed it appears true. Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna run? Where am I gonna hide? Nowhere. Because there's no one out there like me left. This nation is the next thing to hook up a Holocaust. Only look at what they're doing to me. Only look at what they're doing to me. I cannot be a case in isolation. They tend to target the poor first, and that's why no one hears them. No one hears them. But one of these days, even your churches are going to get burned. And you're going to wonder how under heaven did we ever experience so much religious extremism in South Africa when we were a Christian country. You were pro-Palestine. And so now you went and caused a whole bunch of Muslims to get arrogant in the country and start burning down some synagogues. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. A country is about to crash and burn with me in it. And I can't get out. I've got to leave this joint. So I'm really prayerful that the rapture will happen. Because how in the world am I ever going to get a visa and move anywhere? How? I gotta go. I have to leave. I don't know if there's anywhere to go on earth. All I know is that I don't know what's going to happen. America might be evil, but there are countries in the world that aren't that bad. When you watch Netflix, North Korean shows, they barely kiss. They definitely don't have sex in front of everybody. They don't swear. So yes, the US has exported rubbish, but there are other places in the world that is still sober. South Korea. I meant to say South Korea. That's why I like K-drama like that. So if at all there are places across the world that aren't as mad as the US, lambasting us with lesbian kissing scenes and sex scenes between gay people every 2 seconds on Netflix, if at all there are places that we can run to and not be flashed like that by the naked America as innocent kids playing in the park, if at all there are places we can actually run to and find safe haven, it says that maybe God is still employing grace on the earth. If we can still run somewhere that is grace, I don't know. If at all there's all that grace being employed, it might also mean that maybe we still have another 5-10 years to go. In which case, I gotta leave. I have to leave this country while the Lord judges it. While it endures the harsh treatment that the Lord will endure. Iran through. All of the surrounding enemies, Iraq, all of these neighboring countries around Israel that are wreaking havoc in its life. South Africa is one of them now. So if the Lord is going to go and heave you away and cut you to pieces, like seriously, nah. I don't want to be here when that happens. The fact that this Christian country cannot correct our government. Sorry. I don't know how many times I can say that. You're not saved. You are pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine. You don't even know why you're standing with them. You don't understand the context, the biblical understanding, the heart cry, the land, who it belongs to. You don't want to study history. You're busy supporting a whole bunch of violent people who, once they get too many in a country, start to freaking jihad every village. That's who you're supporting. That's who you're standing for. If at all you want to go and experience what it's like to be a Christian living in a land that has got way too many Muslims, Ambani, go to Nigeria and chill out on Christmas Eve, planning the next day to go to church and have somebody come to Phil and just shoot all of y'all down and burn down your houses while your children sleep. Go, move to villages in Nigeria. Go to the south of Nigeria. And then you will come back a little bit more humble to South Africa, realizing that you can't, as an entire country, continue to support Muslim countries like that, because it's at your own peril, given that you call yourselves Christians. It is no wonder Argentina pulled out of BRICS. Babo, and all of this nonsense coming from a mile away. It is no wonder they pulled out. But nah, you're standing with all of the enemies of God. Zechariah 12. All who would lift it will surely hurt themselves, and all the nations of the earth will gather against it. All the nations of the earth will gather against it, against Jerusalem. South Africa is doing that. Where am I going to go? I cannot stay here. I am not safe. Look at what it is that these Islamic countries are doing at the Red Sea. It's about Tunya, America, and Great Britain. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you know who has gone entirely crazy versus not. When you look at what in the world and heaven they're doing with Israel. America has lost its mind, but it has not lost its mind against Israel. Entirely, not completely. It's divided, but it's not completely decided like South Africa. The country that is South Africa at large, governmentally, is actively trying to eradicate Israel from fighting for itself and defending itself. The whole country. The US has not gotten there, whether or not it's currently straddling the fence and almost betraying Israel. It has not yet done it completely. Man, Cat, make a decision. Where do you want to go? Decide. Ish. I don't have time. I guess that it's away, nah, dude. Y'all know I've been given a curfew, so the sooner I finish this message, the better. By a certain time, and it's already 29 minutes past 10, so I really gotta finish this message. Bottom line is, I cannot stay in this country. Like, I don't even know how I'm getting up, but I gotta leave. Maybe if I'm far away in another land, my ex-boyfriend will not think me a feasible second wife to grab. Like, yeah. Maybe I ain't got almost South Africa. All of these crazy South African men trying to come back into my life. They'll see. But then again, here is a man in America. Like no man's business, thinking that he can get a woman or someone battling all the way in South Africa. So, I mean, if borders don't help you sober up as witches, guys, but I gotta leave. I get to go, guy. Right now, I'm gauging safety to live on earth based on their relationship with Israel, because everybody's going crazy to a certain extent. I guess sure, I don't know where we're going. I don't know how this thing is ending. I know that ultimately the Lord will return. God, but I'm sure. I'm not 100% certain that it's going to happen in my lifetime. I would be lying if I said I have got 100% certainty that it's going to happen in my lifetime. And if it's not, I cannot live the rest of my life in this country. I gotta go. I've got to leave. South Africa is on a slippery slope, and it is going down to hell fast and furious. It's not safe, Lana. It's not safe. This place is not safe. I can't say it is not safe. Christians are not safe here. Jews are not safe. Y'all need to listen to me, please. We are not safe. Look at my life. It's only a matter of time. Same way that those people were caught off guard at the kibbutz, and at the music festival in Israel. That's how we're gonna get pounced on by Islam in this country. We are not safe. A nation that's not actively trying to control this border crisis is not safe for Christians and Jews. Some places are better than others on the earth. All over the show. Everybody might be crazy, but like, you know who's super crazy when they open their mouths and say anything about Israel. The crazy people are the anti-Semites, and that's where you must run away from. Any country that is currently strictly, richly, with no division at all, pro-Palestine, y'all gotta get the stepping on out of there. Little limala as Christians, little limala as Jews. Is that basic? Like, it is literally that basic. What are they supposed to do? What would you do, Wena? Chilling in whatever country that is peaceful right now. If somebody rocked up and killed your children in their beds while they slept and put a baby in an oven and switched it on, would you not go to war? And this country that is South Africa is saying that nothing justifies the war that Israel is in right now. Nothing. I cannot be here. But that's your land anyway. All who lift it will surely hurt themselves, and all the nations of the earth will gather against it. On that day, declares the Lord, I will strike every horse with panic, and its rider with madness. But for the sake of the house of Judah, I will keep my eyes open when I strike every house of the peoples with blindness. The clans of Judah shall say to themselves, the inhabitants of Jerusalem have strength through the Lord of hosts their God. Ain't nobody gonna bring them low. But look at our country trying. Yet it calls itself Christian. Where are the pastors and churches standing up against Cyril Ramaphosa? Where? Standing up against the judiciary of this country. Where are all the Christians? Where are they? Who in the world is standing for the Jews in this country? Who, if not us? Who? If such rubbish can trend in our news, with nobody standing up against it, no resistance, halapoloswa South Africa. On that day I will make the clans of Judah like a blazing pot in the midst of wood, like a flaming torch among sheaves, and they shall devour to the right and to the left all the surrounding peoples, while Jerusalem shall again be inhabited in its place in Jerusalem. And the Lord will give salvation to the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem may not surpass that of Judah. On that day the Lord will protect the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the feeblest among them on that day shall be like David. And the house of David shall be like God, like the angel of the Lord going before them. And on that day I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. Let's go to Lady Stepford wives. You can't even see this for what it is. Haliboni. I'm freaking out. I'm panicking. Although the Lord says I should not panic. I should not freak out. But I can't help but freak out because I'm not even sure if the rapture is happening. I can sure. If it's not happening, I have to leave this country. This is the forever purge. South Africa is just purging. It's purging. It's purging. And it's taken for granted that Christians don't know their word. You cannot, as a country, be so blatantly opposed to Israel and not be cursed. When whatever bombs land, I don't want to be here. Land, and I'm in a prison. Top of that, my ex-boyfriend umfuna high and low. Making the dumbo out of two women. Out of Basadi by two. When you get to have your bread buttered on both sides, you listen up, people. There's nonsense going on. All of this Stepford rubbish. Men trying to impregnate women. The chaos. Evidence of the fact that chaos is ubiquitous is the fact that even your government hates God. Your government hates God so much that it's allying with all of God's enemies against God's holy land. Your men are causing your women to get raped by foreigners in other countries. That's your South Africa. Ex-boyfriend, I have this question for you. You want to take care of me? I had a dream of him nursing my wounds, fever on my forehead. You want to take care of me? Oh, really? You literally made me sick. You caused my delirium. You caused my sorrow, my pain, my excruciating anguish. You separated me from family. You made sure that no man can love me. And now I will give you this much, genuinely guilty. But you also are very much in love with me. And so rather than just leave me alone and see that you've made your bed, now lie in it and repent while you're at it. You are telling yourself, it's my turn now to take care of you. Are you serious? It's your turn now to take care of me, so you admit that I did take care of you. That's the thing. You admit that I helped you along. You admit that I was your helper suitable. And you feel as if though I bolstered you so you could go and play these streets and be an animal, break the living daylights out of my heart, and then come back and dress my wounds when I would not have even been wounded in the first place, because remember, I was always very responsible. So I would have been okay. But you made sure that nobody loves me so you could be the only one coming to love me. You made sure that nobody takes care of me so that you could be the only one taking care of me. You saw it fit to ascertain that nothing will ever look at me so you could be the only thing looking at me. You are the one that caused me so much spiritual anguish from a monster in America that now I need a helivac. Now I need to be extracted from a bomb site. Now I need to be rescued from death impending because you sent an assassin after me. You sent such a violent man to my door that every single day and night I gotta fast and pray just to deal with the witchcraft of one obsessed man that met the thing that you regret messing with. The great girl, the wonderful woman that you once had for yourself, all by yourself. It was all yours. And you just let it go, fly like a bird. And then you try to catch me while I was midway in the sky flying, and you shot me down. When I was then down, some other random animal
saw me. The next part. Please go check out the previous
Some other random animal saw me. Animals, please, let's make that a plural. You threw me away, right? You're the one that treated me like trash. Gawa. And then a whole bunch of animals over like a decade, dude. Decade. Just could not help but salivate, grunting with their fangs stuck out to bite into me. To bite into the very thing that you took for granted, that you now want back. You and you alone know my value. You and you alone know my virtue. You and you alone know what kind of a woman I am, to a point where hauna any classist sentiment saying next. Why? Because you know who I am and who I was. You know what value I am, and you're prepared to take it in, and I'm sebenzi. Ain't anything. All these classist guys all over the show. These guys that are trying to follow clout. Hey, that's what's good. Yeah. Because but you met me when I had everything, or much anyway. Yeah. And you got to experience a wonderful woman in your life. You got to experience having that medi of the decade, and then you threw all that away. And now for ex-girlfriend that you kept on bad mouthing. This entire South Africa. Mara, the two of us are just going to be like rebels, telling each other nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter, no, cause I got you, babe. Nobody wanna, you know what, dude? You know what, let's just move to the final part.